Hey everybody, these are Sean's Rants, and in this rant I want to talk about the reactivity mystery on leash. So one of the things we hear about the most, whether it's on Q&A Saturday or my Facebook page or emails or what have you, is that my dog is great when he's off leash and he's a nightmare when he's on leash, right? Off leash, he plays and romps with other dogs. On leash, he's a reactive monster, right? So that's something that's a super duper common thing. And I think for a lot of people, they get really stymied about so why, a lot of people, I think, when they see their dogs being nasty on leash, they assume their dog is aggressive, right? That not only is he just being a knucklehead, but he's actually aggressive and might damage a dog, which could be possible. But typically what we see is something kind of different. And here's the two basic principles behind reactivity on leash versus dogs that can be off leash and do pretty well, right? So the number one reason that dogs are reactive on leash are because they're excited. They're excited, they're frustrated, they're in a bratty mode, they've been allowed to pull on the leash, pull to trees, do what they want to do. They're typically on a flexi leash, all that kind of stuff. And so you get these dogs that are like, I see a dog and I want to go over there and I want to go say hi to this dog. And it may sound like barking and crazy, but it's actually a frustrated dog that wants to go do what it wants to go do. The problem is the owner hasn't created enough of a relationship that's a respectful, deferential relationship where the dog will check itself and say I want to go do that, but I'm going to hold myself back and behave, which is the same thing as a kid going down the aisle at Toys R Us and just grabbing all the things and going, I want this, and It's the same exact concept. It's a dog or a kid who hasn't been told that no matter what you want, there are still limitations and there are still behavioral models that you have to adhere to, right? So excitement is the number one one of the big triggers, right? And like I said, it can also look like barky and aggressive and all that. The second part of this would be dogs that are insecure, nervous, fearful, freaked out. So these dogs, right? So the first ones, they're trapped on leash and want to go. The second set of dogs, they're trapped on leash and they can't get away, right? So hopefully this makes sense, right? So they're both going to exhibit a lot of similar behavior, which makes it really confusing, right? So the excited, bratty dog is going to get barky and growly and pull and lunge, and the fearful, insecure dog is most likely going to do something very similar. So what you end up seeing is you see these dogs that wow, Frances plays really nice in the backyard with Justine or, Pearl or whatever. But as soon as she's on leash, she becomes this little tyrant. She becomes this little monster. So the leash creates a very different dynamic. And whether that dynamic creates the frustration of I can't do what I want to do, or it creates the fear of I can't get away from what I want to get away from, or practice normal social behaviors that make me feel more comfortable, that's typically what happens in on-leash issues and why people are so stymied by that. We hear it so often that my dog is so great, when we're at the dog park or when he's playing with his friends, but as soon as he's on leash, he's a monster. It's because the dog hasn't been trained how to behave appropriately on leash. Dog needs to learn an immaculate heel, whether it's e-collar, prong collar, and strict rules about that, and that yes, there's a dog, but that doesn't mean that it's a green light for you to light up. Yes, there's a dog, that doesn't mean it's time for you to flip and spin and freak and redirect and all that. It means it's time for you to be quiet and relaxed and walk with me, and that takes a lot of work. But mainly what I want to get across is those are the two big drivers for that behavior, and I think it's confusing for a lot of owners. They don't understand, because why can my dog be playful in one context, and then why can my dog act like a jackass and even look dangerous in another? And that's largely the reason why.